Lead the Field by Earl Nightingale. Lesson 1. The Magic of Your Mind. Let me ask you something. What's the most valuable tool you possess? Is it your education? Your connections? Perhaps your financial resources? No? The most powerful instrument you'll ever own is sitting right between your ears, your mind? Your mind is the magic wand that shapes your reality. I've spent decades studying successful people across every field imaginable, and I've discovered one fundamental truth. We become what we think about most of the time. This isn't some fanciful notion or wishful thinking. It's a law as certain as gravity. Look around you right now. Your current situation, your job, your relationships, your bank account, all of it represents the accumulated result of your past thinking. Every thought you've entertained has been a seed planted in the fertile soil of your mind. Some have blossomed into beautiful achievements. Others may have grown into circumstances you'd rather not face. But make no mistake, you harvested exactly what you planted. The wonderful news is that you can change your life by changing your thinking. This very moment can be a turning point if you decide it will be. The person who leads the field understands this principle and puts it to work deliberately, consciously directing their thoughts toward the things they wish to create. Most people drift through life at the mercy of random thoughts, buffeted by whatever happens to cross their mental doorstep. But not the leaders, not those who rise above the crowd. They guard the gateway to their minds with vigilance, allowing entry only to thoughts that serve their greater purpose. Consider this. Your mind can only hold one thought at a time. Will it be one of limitation or possibility, of fear or courage, of fear or courage, of scarcity or abundance? The choice is always yours. I remember speaking with a young salesman years ago. His sales were dismal, and he complained bitterly about his territory, his products, his manager, everything but himself. Everything but himself. I asked him a simple question. What do you think about most of the time? After some reflection, he admitted his thoughts centered on failure, rejection, and all the reasons he couldn't succeed. 6 months later, after deliberately changing his thought patterns to focus on service, opportunity, and success, his sales had tripled. His territory hadn't changed. His products hadn't changed. Only his thinking had changed, and with it his results. Your mind doesn't judge the quality of what you feed it. It simply takes your predominant thoughts and works day and night to bring them into reality. Think thoughts of lack, and you'll experience lack, and you'll experience lack. Think thoughts of abundance, and abundance will find its way to you. This isn't mystical, it's practical. When you focus on a goal, your mind automatically begins identifying opportunities that were always there but previously invisible to you. Your actions align with your dominant thoughts, often without conscious effort. The person who leads the field understands this magic and harnesses it daily. They know that thoughts are things, powerful things that shape destinies. Begin today to take control of your thinking, and you'll find yourself taking control of your life. Lesson 2. Acres of Diamonds. There exists a story I've often shared about a farmer who sold his farm to travel the world in search of diamonds. He'd heard tales of others finding great wealth and decided this was his path to fortune. For years he wandered, growing increasingly destitute until finally, in despair, he threw himself into a river and drowned. Meanwhile, the man who purchased his farm one day noticed an unusual stone in the creek that ran through the property. That stone turned out to be a diamond of considerable value. The farm, as you might have guessed, was sitting on one of the richest diamond deposits ever discovered. The original farmer had been literally standing on acres of diamonds, but was too busy looking elsewhere to notice. This parable, S, contains one of life's most profound truths. The opportunities you seek, the diamonds of possibility are often right where you are, waiting to be recognized. Look around you. Your job, your community, your relationships, these familiar territories contain untapped possibilities for those with eyes to see. Most people make the critical error of believing opportunity must exist somewhere else, another city, another company, another relationship. If only I could start fresh, they think, never realizing the fresh start they need is simply a fresh perspective on their current circumstances. The person who leads the field understands this principle deeply. They don't constantly seek greener pastures. Instead, they cultivate the ground beneath their feet. They look at common problems with uncommon eyes, seeing solutions where others see only obstacles, Consider the case of a young paper boy I once knew. While other delivery boys saw their route as mere drudgery, this young man recognized an opportunity. He studied his customers, learned their habits, and began offering personalized service, placing the paper exactly where each preferred, protecting it from rain, remembering birthdays with small notes. Within a year, he had the largest route in the city, with customers actually requesting him specifically. His territory, the very same streets others considered a dead-end job, became his acres of diamonds. The question isn't whether opportunity exists around you. It does, abundantly. The question is whether you've trained your mind to recognize it. Opportunity rarely arrives labeled as such. More often, it comes disguised as problems, challenges, or mundane situations that most people overlook. Your current situation, whatever it may be, contains seeds of greatness waiting to be cultivated. The job you consider boring might hold the connections that will launch your next venture. The industry you think is dying likely contains niches begging for innovation. The skills you take for granted could be precisely what others desperately need. Remember this: fortunes are made by people who see value where others see nothing special. The greatest opportunities aren't found by running away from your current circumstances, but by looking deeper into them. Your acres of diamonds are where you stand right now. Will you recognize them, or will you, like our restless farmer, spend your life searching elsewhere for what was always at your feet? Lesson 3. The Attitude of Success. I've discovered something remarkable in my years of studying successful people. The most powerful force separating those who lead the field from those who merely follow isn't intelligence, connections, or even luck. It's something much simpler yet more profound: attitude. Your attitude is the window through which you view the world. If that window is clean and bright, everything you see appears full of possibility. If it's smudged with doubt, fear, or negativity, even the brightest opportunities appear dim and distant. Think about this. Two people work at the same company, with the same education, same skills, same opportunities. One rises steadily to leadership, while the other remains stuck, complaining about bad luck. What separates them? Almost always, it's attitude. The attitude of success is a deliberate choice you make each morning when your feet hit the floor. No one can force you to have a positive, expectant attitude, nor can anyone prevent you from choosing one. It's the one freedom that can never be taken from you. I've watched thousands of people transform their lives by simply changing their attitude. A positive attitude works like a magnet. It attracts positive people, positive opportunities, and positive outcomes. It's not magic. It's cause and effect. When you approach life with an attitude of gratitude and expectancy, people respond differently to you. Doors open that remained closed before. Solutions appear where previously you saw only problems. Your energy rises, and with it, your productivity. The beautiful truth is that attitudes are contagious. When you maintain an attitude of success, you elevate everyone around you. Your family feels it. Your coworkers sense it. Even strangers pick up on it. You become a force for good in a world that desperately needs it. Now, maintaining this attitude isn't always easy. Life will test you. Problems will arise. People will disappoint you. But here's what separates those who lead the field. They don't let circumstances dictate their attitude. They choose their attitude regardless of circumstances. When you face setbacks with an attitude of "this is happening for me, not to me," you immediately begin looking for the benefit. And remarkably, you almost always find it. Your attitude is formed by what you feed your mind. If you consume a steady diet of negativity, from the news, negative people, or pessimistic thinking, your attitude will reflect it. Instead, fill your mind with books that inspire, people who elevate, and thoughts that empower. Start tomorrow morning with this simple exercise. Before your feet touch the floor, say aloud, "This is going to be a great day." Say it with conviction. Feel the conviction. Feel the truth of it. Then throughout your day, look for evidence that proves you right. The attitude of success isn't complicated, but it is transformative. It costs nothing to adopt, but pays dividends for a lifetime. It requires no special training, but distinguishes you immediately in any field. Make this decision today. No matter what happens, you will maintain an attitude of success. This single choice will put you on the path to leading your field, and more importantly, to living a life of joy, purpose, and achievement. Lesson 4. The Strangest Secret. Our world is filled with remarkable people and extraordinary achievements, yet most walk through life unaware of the one principle that governs success or failure. I call it the strangest secret. Strange because it's right before our eyes, yet secret because so few ever grasp its power. The secret is simply this: we become what we think about most of the time. This truth has been taught by the greatest minds throughout history. The Bible tells us, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "A man is what he thinks about all day long." And William James, the father of American psychology, stated, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind." Consider a farmer who plants corn. The farmer expects corn, not wheat or tomatoes, because he knows the law of the harvest. You reap what you sow. This same principle applies to your mind. Plant thoughts of success, confidence, and possibility, and you'll harvest exactly that. Plant thoughts of doubt, fear, and limitation, and those too will bear fruit in your life. Look around you. Everything you see was first a thought in someone's mind. Your house, car, the clothes you wear, all began as ideas. The chair you're sitting in, the book in your hands. These were once only thoughts until someone took action to bring them into physical form. Yet here's the challenge. While most people wouldn't dream of planting weeds in their garden, they carelessly allow negative thoughts to take root in their minds. They think about what they fear rather than what they want. They focus on problems instead of solutions, on past failures rather than future possibilities. The average person spends almost no time considering what kind of thoughts occupy their mind. Is it any wonder most people drift through life never approaching their potential? Here's a simple exercise that has changed countless lives. Take a small card and write on it your single most important goal in clear, specific language. Carry this card with you. Each morning when you wake up and each evening before sleep, read this goal. Read it with emotion, visualizing yourself having already achieved it. Do this for 30 days straight. You'll find your mind automatically working toward this goal, even while you sleep. Ideas will come to you. Opportunities will appear. You'll notice resources you never saw before. This happens because you've programmed your mind with a clear target, and your subconscious works tirelessly to hit that target. Remember, this works in both directions. Think about lack, and you'll experience lack. Think about abundance, and you'll experience abundance. You have complete control over only one thing in life: your thoughts. When you fully grasp this principle and put it to work, you'll stand amazed at the transformation in your circumstances. The person who leads the field understands this secret. They carefully guard what enters their mind, deliberately choosing thoughts of growth, service, and possibility. They know that the outer world of results merely reflects the inner world of thoughts. Choose your thoughts with the same care you'd choose anything of tremendous value, for indeed they are the most valuable asset you possess. This is the strangest secret, and it can transform your life starting today. Lesson 5. Serving your way to greatness. The law of increasing returns is still in effect today, just as it has been throughout human history. This powerful law dictates that what you put out into the world returns to you, multiplied. It's simply cause and effect, a principle so fundamental yet overlooked by so many who wonder why success eludes them. I have observed thousands of successful men and women over the decades, and without exception, they understand this fundamental truth. Your rewards in life will be in direct proportion to the value of your service to others. The marketplace pays for value, nothing more and nothing less. The person who leads the field in any industry has discovered a powerful secret, that to receive more, you must first give more. This isn't philosophical, it's practical economics. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. The doctor who helps more patients, the teacher who inspires more students, the salesperson who solves more customer problems. These are the people who naturally rise to the top. Consider the humble beginnings of most great fortunes. They started with someone who identified a human need and dedicated themselves to filling it exceptionally well. Henry Ford didn't become wealthy by demanding riches. He became wealthy by figuring out how to put affordable transportation within reach of ordinary people. His focus was on service first, and the rewards followed naturally. What service are you rendering, and how could you increase its value? This is the question that will transform your career and financial future. Most people have it backward. They focus first on what they can get rather than what they can give. They wonder why their income isn't increasing while doing the bare minimum their job requires. The extra mile is a remarkable place. It's never crowded because so few people venture there. Yet it's where you'll find the greatest opportunities for advancement. Going beyond what's expected, delivering more than you're paid for. This is the fertile soil where your future prosperity will grow. A shoe salesman who learns everything about foot health, who remembers his customers' preferences, who follows up after the sale. He isn't merely selling shoes. He's providing a level of service that distinguishes him from everyone else in his field. His advancement is inevitable. Begin today to look for ways to increase your service. How can you help more people? How can you solve bigger problems? How can you add unexpected value? The answers to these questions will chart your course to greater success. Money is simply a symbol that represents value exchanged between people. The more valuable you become to others, the more of these symbols will flow toward you. It's not complicated, but it does require a fundamental shift in thinking. Don't ask what the world owes you. Ask instead what greater service you can render. Then watch as the law of increasing returns works its magic in your life. The field is yours to lead when you master this principle of giving your way to greatness. Lesson 6. The driving force of achievement. Success isn't an accident. Throughout my years of studying the most accomplished men and women across every field, I've observed one consistent pattern. Those who lead the field are driven by something powerful within them. This driving force separates the extraordinary from the ordinary, and today I want to share with you the nature of this remarkable power. What propels a person forward when others quit? What keeps someone working with enthusiasm while others merely put in their time? It's purpose. Clear, compelling purpose. When you have a purpose that burns inside you, obstacles become merely temporary challenges to overcome rather than permanent roadblocks. I remember talking with a young entrepreneur who had failed in 3 consecutive business ventures. Most would have given up, taken a safe job, and resigned themselves to mediocrity. But this young man possessed a purpose that transcended his temporary setbacks. Today, his company employs over 200 people. His purpose pulled him through the failures that would have stopped a less determined soul. Purpose provides the energy to persist when the initial excitement of a new venture fades. Think about it. How many people start projects with tremendous enthusiasm only to abandon them when difficulties arise? The difference is purpose. Those with clear purpose maintain their momentum regardless of circumstances. Now, how do you discover your purpose? Start by asking yourself what excites you most. What work would you do even if you weren't paid for it? What problems do you find yourself naturally drawn to solve? Your answers reveal the seeds of your purpose. Next, connect your natural interests to service. The most powerful purposes always involve contribution to others. A doctor isn't merely fascinated by medicine. She's driven to heal the sick. A teacher isn't just interested in knowledge. He's compelled to illuminate young minds. Your purpose gains strength when it benefits others. Write your purpose in clear language. Vague intentions produce vague results. Instead of, I want to help people, specify, I will create training programs that help unemployed workers develop marketable skills. Clarity creates power. Review your purpose daily. Each morning, before the demands of the day cloud your thinking, reconnect with your purpose. This simple habit will shape your decisions and focus your energy where it matters most. Remember, friends, a ship without a destination will never arrive anywhere worthwhile. It might float impressively, even travel fast, but ultimately, it's just adrift. Don't let your life follow this pattern. Define your purpose. Let it drive your choices, your efforts, and your persistence. The world reserves its richest rewards for those who know where they're going and why. When you clarify your purpose, you activate the most powerful force for achievement known to humanity. This force will carry you through obstacles, energize your efforts, and ultimately lead you to heights you may have thought impossible. Purpose isn't just a nice addition to your life. It's the essential element that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary achievement. Discover yours, define it clearly, and watch as it propels you to lead the field. Lesson 7. The courage to begin. There's a quality that separates those who lead the field from those who merely wish they could. It's not talent, education, or connections. Though these certainly help, the true separator is simply the courage to begin. Most people never start the journey toward their dreams because they're waiting for perfect conditions, perfect knowledge, or perfect confidence. But those who lead the field understand a fundamental truth. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Look around you at the most successful people in any field. Did they wait until they had everything figured out? No, they started with what they had, where they were. They understood that the first step is always the hardest and most crucial one. Think of life as a great ocean. Most people stand on the shore, testing the water with their toe, analyzing the currents, worrying about what might be beneath the surface. Meanwhile, the leaders have already dived in and started swimming. They may not know exactly where the currents will take them, but they've begun the journey while others are still contemplating the first step. This reminds me of a man I once knew who spent 15 years planning to write a book. He collected research, outlined chapters, and told everyone about his great idea. Yet he never wrote the first word because he was waiting until he had enough time and felt ready. Contrast this with another acquaintance who simply sat down one day and started writing for 30 minutes each morning. Within a year, her book was completed and published. The difference: one had ideas. The other had the courage to begin. Fear disguises itself in many forms. I need more preparation. The timing isn't right. I might fail. These are all masks worn by the same underlying fear, the fear of taking that first uncertain step. But here's the truth. The perfect moment you're waiting for doesn't exist. The right time is now. The place to start is here. When you summon the courage to begin, something remarkable happens. Resources appear that weren't visible before. People come into your life who can help. Opportunities emerge that you couldn't have anticipated. This isn't mystical thinking. It's practical reality. Action creates momentum, and momentum reveals pathways that standing still never could. Remember this: every expert was once a beginner. Every success story started with someone who didn't know if they could do it, but tried anyway. The water might be cold when you first dive in, but your body adjusts. The first steps might be awkward, but your stride soon smooths out. What dream have you been postponing? What goal have you been analyzing instead of pursuing? The gap between where you are and where you want to be can only be bridged by the courage to begin. Not tomorrow. Not when conditions are perfect. Now. Those who lead the field understand that imperfect action beats perfect inaction every time. They know that courage isn't the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than that fear. So take that first step today, however small it might seem. The journey of 1,000 miles doesn't begin with planning, wishing, or waiting. It begins with a single step forward. Lesson 8. The courage to begin. In all my years of studying successful men and women, I've observed one quality that stands out above all others: courage. not the kind of courage that sends soldiers into battle, though that's certainly admirable. I'm talking about the quiet courage to begin, the courage to take that first step toward a worthy goal when the path ahead isn't entirely clear. Most people live lives of quiet desperation, as Thoreau so aptly put it. They dream of better circumstances, better relationships, better careers, but they lack the courage to begin. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect circumstances. And so they wait, and wait, while life passes them by. The men and women who lead the field understand a fundamental truth. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. The water doesn't flow until the faucet is turned on. The car doesn't move until the key is turned. Your dreams don't materialize until you take that first step, however imperfect it may be. I remember speaking with a gentleman who had built a remarkably successful manufacturing company. When I asked him the secret to his success, he chuckled and said, "Earl, I just started before I was ready. While my competitors were still planning, I was making mistakes, learning and moving forward." That's the paradox that stops so many people. They believe they need to know exactly how to reach their destination before beginning the journey. But life doesn't work that way. The path reveals itself to those in motion, not to those standing still. The courage to begin is the courage to face uncertainty, to risk failure, to invite criticism. When you find yourself hesitating, remember this: you don't need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. The Wright brothers didn't know exactly how to build a flying machine when they began. They just started experimenting. Thomas Edison didn't have a blueprint for the light bulb. He simply began testing materials. I've noticed something remarkable about courage. It grows with use. The first step is always the hardest. The second step is a bit easier. By the 10th step, you've built momentum. By the 100th step, you've developed a habit of action that becomes almost automatic. Start small if you must. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will your dreams be. If you want to write a book, begin with a single page. If you want to build a business, serve your first customer. If you want to transform your health, take a 10-minute walk. The size of the first step matters far less than the fact that you've taken it. Remember, the future belongs to those who have the courage to begin. While others wait for perfect conditions, you'll be gathering experience, wisdom, and results. While they theorize, you'll be testing and improving. While they wonder what if, you'll discover what is. The world makes way for those in motion. So whatever goal you've been postponing, whatever dream you've been deferring, begin today. Take that first imperfect step with courage and watch as the path unfolds before you. That's how you lead the field. Lesson 9. The Seeds of Greatness. Within each of us lie the seeds of greatness, waiting to be nurtured, cultivated, and brought to full bloom. Too many people go through life never discovering the remarkable potential that resides within them. They walk the earth carrying treasures they'll never unwrap, talents they'll never develop, and abilities they'll never recognize. What separates those who lead the field from those who merely exist in it? It's the simple understanding that greatness isn't reserved for a select few born with special privileges or extraordinary gifts. Greatness is available to anyone willing to discover and develop what they already possess. You were born with unique talents and abilities. You arrived on this earth equipped with everything you need to create an exceptional life. These are your seeds of greatness. The tragedy is that most people never take the time to discover what these seeds are, let alone provide the nourishment they need to grow. Think about the mighty oak tree. It begins as a small acorn, unimpressive to the casual observer. But within that acorn lies the complete blueprint for a magnificent tree that can stand for centuries. The acorn needs only the right conditions, soil, water, sunlight, to realize its full potential. You are no different. Your mind is the soil in which your seeds of greatness will either flourish or perish. The thoughts you plant, the attitudes you cultivate, and the beliefs you nurture will determine whether your unique gifts blossom or remain dormant. I've observed thousands of successful people across every industry and profession. While their specific talents varied greatly, they all shared one common trait. They discovered their natural abilities and devoted themselves to developing these gifts to their fullest. They didn't try to be someone else. They became the best version of themselves. How do you discover your seeds of greatness? Begin by asking yourself, what activities energize rather than drain you? What tasks do you perform so well that they seem almost effortless? What do others consistently compliment you on? The answers to these questions point to your natural talents. Once you've identified your unique gifts, you must commit to their development. Natural talent is just the beginning. The person who leads the field combines natural ability with dedicated practice and continuous improvement. Even the most talented musician must practice daily to achieve mastery. The world rewards excellence, not merely good intentions. Whatever your field, whatever your calling, your objective should be to develop your abilities to such a degree that you stand out from the crowd. When you do this, opportunities will seek you out rather than you having to chase them. Don't make the mistake of comparing your seeds to someone else's fully grown garden. Each person's gifts are unique. Your only competition is the person you're capable of becoming. Focus your energy on nurturing your own seeds of greatness rather than envying the harvest of others. The most fulfilling life is one where your natural talents are identified, developed, and put to use in service to others. When you align your work with your innate abilities, you'll find yourself energized rather than exhausted. You'll experience the deep satisfaction that comes from doing what you were born to do. Today, make the decision to discover and develop your seeds of greatness. The world is waiting for the unique contribution that only you can make. Lesson 10. Leading from Within. Let me share with you one of the greatest secrets of leadership that most people never truly understand. Leadership isn't about the position you hold or the title on your business card. True leadership begins within. It starts with self-mastery, and those who lead the field in any area of life have first learned to lead themselves. Consider this. Have you ever noticed how people naturally gravitate toward certain individuals? These people may not have formal authority, yet others instinctively follow them, seek their advice, and value their opinions. What separates these natural leaders from everyone else? The answer is simple but profound. Those who lead the field have developed an inner compass that guides their actions regardless of external circumstances. They've mastered their emotions, disciplined their thoughts, and aligned their daily actions with their deepest values. In short, they've become leaders of themselves before attempting to lead anyone else. When you develop this inner leadership, several remarkable things happen. First, you gain a quiet confidence that others immediately sense. This isn't arrogance or false bravado. It's the natural result of knowing who you are and what you stand for. Second, you develop consistency in your behavior that builds trust. People know what to expect from you because your actions flow from your core values rather than shifting circumstances. The most powerful form of leadership has always been leadership by example. When you consistently demonstrate the qualities and behaviors you wish to see in others, you create a magnetic pull that's far more effective than any amount of talking, commanding, or controlling. Your very presence becomes an invitation for others to rise to their best selves. To develop this inner leadership, begin by clarifying your personal values. What principles matter most to you? What standards will you never compromise? Write these down and review them regularly. Let them guide your decisions, especially when facing difficult choices. Next, practice self-discipline in small matters. The person who can't manage their own time, emotions, or habits will never effectively lead others. Start with simple daily disciplines, perhaps waking at a consistent time, maintaining a promise to yourself about physical exercise, or dedicating time each day to learning. These seemingly small victories build the character foundation from which great leadership grows. Remember, too, that leading yourself means taking full responsibility for your life. The moment you blame external circumstances for your problems is the moment you surrender your leadership power. Those who lead the field refuse to waste energy on blame. Instead, they ask, what can I do with what I have, right where I am? True leaders also remain learners. They understand that yesterday's solutions rarely solve today's challenges. Commit to continuous growth through reading, seeking wise counsel, and remaining humble enough to change your mind when better information comes along. Leading from within means living with integrity, ensuring your words and actions align. It means confronting your weaknesses honestly while building on your strengths. It means serving others without seeking recognition. Most importantly, it means recognizing that your most important leadership role isn't found in any organization chart. It's found in the mirror each morning. Lesson 11. The power of persistence. Success in any field isn't achieved overnight. The man or woman who leads the field understands that persistence is the bridge between failure and achievement. Time and again, I've observed that those who reach the summit are rarely the most talented. They're the ones who simply refuse to quit. Imagine a stonecutter hammering away at a rock. He might strike it 100 times without seeing a crack. Yet on the 101st blow, the rock splits in two. Was it that final strike that did the job? No, it was the cumulative effect of all the blows that came before. Your success works the same way. Each effort you make, each hour you invest, each rejection you overcome, these aren't separate events, but links in the chain of your inevitable success. The challenge is that most people quit just before their breakthrough is about to happen. Consider Thomas Edison. He conducted more than 10,000 experiments before inventing the practical electric light bulb. When asked about his failures, Edison famously remarked, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This is the mindset of someone who leads the field, seeing setbacks not as failures but as necessary steps on the path to success. Persistence means continuing to move forward despite obstacles. The average person quits at the first sign of difficulty. The person who leads the field understands that difficulty is simply part of the journey. They expect resistance and plan for it. When you're pursuing any worthwhile goal, you'll encounter what I call the resistance threshold. This is the point where most people give up. It's the moment when it seems easier to quit than to continue. Your ability to push through this threshold separates you from the crowd. It's what puts you at the front of the pack. Persistence doesn't mean blindly repeating the same actions. If something isn't working, adjust your approach, but never adjust your goal. Be flexible in your methods, but rigid in your determination to succeed. Develop a whatever-it-takes attitude. James Allen wrote, "The will to do springs from the knowledge that we can do." Once you've committed to persistence, you'll find reserves of strength you never knew you had. Make persistence a habit by taking some action toward your goal every single day, no matter how small. These daily actions compound over time, just like interest in a bank account. A small daily improvement leads to stunning results when continued consistently. The darkest hour is just before dawn. Often, when things seem most difficult, you're on the verge of a breakthrough. This is precisely when most people quit, and precisely when you must double down on your persistence. The world makes way for the person who refuses to be stopped by temporary defeat. When you combine persistence with the other principles we've discussed throughout this book, you become unstoppable. Your success becomes not a matter of if, but when. The person who leads the field understands this simple truth. Persistence is not just a characteristic of success. It is the character of success itself. Lesson 12. Leaving your mark. The journey we've taken together through these pages has brought us to this final meeting point, where we consider what it truly means to lead the field. As we conclude our time together, I want to share with you the most essential truth of achievement. Your ultimate success will be measured by the impact you have on others. I've traveled across this great country of ours, meeting men and women from all walks of life. The ones who truly lead the field understand that lasting success isn't measured by the money in your bank account or the possessions you accumulate. Those who rise to the pinnacle of achievement recognize that their greatest wealth lies in the difference they make in the lives of others. Consider this. When we depart this world, we leave behind two things: the work we've created and the lives we've touched. Everything else fades away. The person who leads the field understands this fundamental truth and organizes their life accordingly. Begin each morning with this simple question: how can I add value to someone else today? This single question, answered with action, will transform your life more dramatically than any other practice. When you consistently seek ways to improve the lives of those around you, you set in motion forces that cannot help but improve your own life as well. I recall a conversation with a business leader who built a remarkable organization from humble beginnings. When I asked about the secret to his success, he didn't mention strategy or financial acumen. Instead, he said, "I simply tried to make life better for everyone who came into contact with my business: customers, employees, suppliers, and the community." This philosophy, so simple yet profound, propelled him to the very top of his field. Your legacy isn't built in grand, sweeping gestures, but in the small, consistent actions you take each day. The kind word to a colleague who's struggling, the extra effort to solve a customer's problem, the thank you note that recognizes someone's contribution. These seemingly small acts compound over time into a life of significance. We're not merely economic beings, we're human beings with the capacity to touch hearts and change lives. The person who leads the field knows that true wealth comes from the lives you enrich, not the dollars you earn. As you put down this book, I encourage you to make a commitment. Decide today that you will measure your success not by what you get, but by what you give. Choose to be someone who adds value to every person you meet and every situation you encounter. The world is filled with people focused solely on their own advancement. Be different. Be different. Be the rare individual who focuses on advancing others, and you'll discover that you naturally rise to the top. Go forward from this moment with this mission firmly in mind: to lead the field by lifting others. In doing so, you'll not only create extraordinary success for yourself, but you'll leave an indelible mark on the world that will outlast any material achievement. The choice, as always, is yours. Choose wisely, act boldly, and watch as you not only lead the field, but leave it better than you found it.